The year is 2021. Gavin Newsom, only popular with the mentally deficient, signs a law mandating toy stores to maintain gender-neutral aisles for brainwashed children. Ho ho. Oh no. Bill de Blasio, also popular with those special individuals lacking brain cells, proclaims that being smart just isn't fair and equitable enough. So what's he do? He cancels the gifted program for children. While the school systems and social media train our children to become good little peons to replace us with, the remnants of cable television teach them that sin is in, as Madonna puts on a disgusting, an absolutely disgusting display for all the world to see. Meanwhile, at the pole dancing class for 7-year-olds. You heard me correctly, folks. The pole dancing class for 7-year-olds. The owner hides a dark secret. Her husband is a registered child sex offender. And it only gets worse from there, as a Florida veterinarian is sentenced to over 21 years in federal prison. For what? For raping dogs and collecting child pornography. Listen to me when I say this, folks. This country is going to hell in a handbasket. The United States becomes Sodom and Gomorrah next on the 175th episode of American Reveille with James Lane. Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, coming to you from deep in blue territory, incognito, broadcasting to you from down in the underground compound. This is the 175th episode of the American Reveille Podcast. Folks, I've got a great show lined up for you today, but before we get to that, I need you to do your part in preserving free speech by subscribing, by liking, commenting, rating, and sharing this episode. Please, 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 whatever platform you're on, regardless of whether you're watching on Rumble and Gab TV or you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please subscribe, please like, please comment, rate, and share these shows. It's really, 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 really hard getting through all this censorship and shadow banning right now. So every little thing you do helps tremendously. It really, really does. One way I'm fighting the censorship is by researching alternative means of broadcasting and syndication. I'm actively reaching out to AM radio stations across the United States to pick up the American Reveille with James Lane. So if you happen to love AM talk radio and would love to hear American Reveille on a conservative talk station near you, please, please, please do me a favor. Reach out to your local station manager and let them know. Just go online, go on a search engine, look it up. It's really, really easy to find. Whatever your location is, find your local station, give them a call, and request American Reveille with James Lane. I would really, really, really appreciate that. It would be a great help, both ends working on one goal. So for everyone else, I'm shadow banned across most social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, you name it. From September 2020, between September 2020 and January 2021, my reach and my distribution literally disappeared over all platforms. And I have the data to prove it. I have the analytics. I've looked it up. I've charted it. I've tracked it. It is right there, plain to see. I am being censored. I'm being completely blackballed, blacklisted, shadow banned, and censored. So here's what I'm asking you to do. All right, here's what I'm asking you to do. Please head over to www.americanreveille.com and bookmark it. That's American Reveille, REVEILLE.com. Please bookmark it. Create a shortcut for it on your desktop. Save it to your phone, to your home screen, however you do it. Just make sure that www.americanreveille.com is saved to your home screen. I've got a lot of folks that love the digital publication and have no idea about the talk show that we do. And then I've got a lot of people who love the talk show yet have absolutely no clue where a digital publication bringing you news, articles, and blogs from the perspective of the American patriot. So please do me a favor, support free speech and bookmark AmericanReveille.com. And the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is to hit the newsletter tab and sign up for the American Reveille newsletter. It's absolutely free. It can be done anonymously. Hit the newsletter tab and enter your email for me so I can send you an email once a week with our latest articles and podcasts. Everything else once a month. You'll get an insider look into the performance of American Reveille LLC. That's right, folks. We're a company. I'm building a modern conservative business, and I want to take you along for the ride. So listen, I've been getting a lot of feedback from people wondering why I haven't been putting out the newsletter. So let's clear this up. I have been putting out the newsletter. I've been putting it out 100% every week. I've been putting out the newsletter, and I bet you $20 that if you check your spam folder or maybe your junk folder, it's been going in there. So please find my email in that folder, right-click it, and mark my email, JamesLane@AmericanReveille.com, as not spam. That'll fix the problem forever. Other than that, we're actively recruiting journalists, writers, and bloggers, as well as social media managers and influencer marketers. If you're interested in any of these positions and would like to discuss partnerships, sponsorships, or business opportunities, please email me directly, folks, at JamesLane@AmericanReveille. That's REVEILLE.com. So in the introduction to this episode, I said that the country's going to hell in a handbasket. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't forces of good opposing the complete fall of righteousness and morality in this country. It means that while the battle between good and evil rages, it's taking a long damn time for more great people to step up to the plate. But have no fear, great Americans seem to be always late for the fight. We're closers, as Dave Chappelle might say. With all the insanity going on across this country and the world between China, Taiwan, Iran, Afghanistan, North Korea, France, Australia, the DOJ calling parents terrorists, the border crisis, COVID, the vax, school shooters out on bail, the socialist infrastructure bill, the debt ceiling, militant LGBTQs, and more, I could have done this week's episode on anything, literally anything. But instead, I chose to use this week's episode to teach you something. And I'm going to put my business management hat on for a second to do it. When a company, are you listening? When a company becomes very large, think Walmart, think Boeing, you name it, it becomes much more difficult to manage the output of products. All right? You want to turn out a consistent product. Well, when you have thousands of employees, that becomes nearly impossible. Naturally, the company standardizes its practices across the board and begins training new employees to robotically follow standardized processes and procedures. Now, I'm not saying that having some rules, regulations, and processes is a bad thing. What I'm saying is that it eventually becomes the only thing. For many of you who worked or currently work for large companies, you watched as your carefully honed craft became a standardized procedure, and you were further pushed to the wayside as everyone slowly became a number. Mike, John, Sally, Dick, Rob, Jennifer, they became employee ID number 334678910 and 11. Look, it makes sense. The elites are supreme executives. They're rich business managers, and we, the people, is how they profit. Create a sinful, disgraceful, subservient race of numbered people instead of free-thinking, moral and righteous individuals. Kill God, kill the family, kill ambition, and kill all opposition. That is the mantra of the progressive elite. The rulers over the mainstream media, Hollywood, social media, public schools, big business, and scariest of all, the U.S. government. How does one become a number and not an American? A subservient employee of the progressive elite. Well, the same way it happens in a big company. It starts with training, and socialism demands you start 'em young. Take a look at this, folks. From Breitbart.com and Joel Pollack, Gavin Newsom signs law requiring gender-neutral aisles in toy stores. This is the article I was telling you about earlier. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a host of bills into law on Friday, including AB 1084, which requires, quote, gender-neutral retail departments in toy stores so that shoppers will not be encouraged to buy some toys for girls and other toys for boys. The bill, authored by Assemblymember Evan Lowe, declares that differences in products that are marketed to girls or boys are unjustified, and that it's inappropriate to imply that they should be used by one gender instead of another. And see, this shouldn't matter. This is petty little stuff. But we have first world problems here, and the leftist elite and the progressive crazies, the libtards, they've made this their number one issue. They've nitpicked all the little things so they can separate us, confuse us, and confuse our children. As such, the bill provides the following. A retail department store that offers child care items or toys for sale shall maintain a gender-neutral section or area to be labeled at the discretion of the retailer, in which a responsible selection of items and toys for children that it sells shall be displayed, regardless of whether they've been traditionally marketed for either girls or for boys. This section shall apply only to retail department stores that are physically located in California, of course, and have a total of 500 or more employees across all California retail department store locations. This section shall not apply to retail department stores that are physically located outside of California. Well, I'm so glad that the bill in California is letting the rest of the country know that we don't have to follow their rules for now. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, California. Thank you so much, Assemblyman Evan Lowe. Beginning on January 1st, 2024, a retail department store that fails to comply with this section is liable for a civil penalty not to exceed $250 for a first violation or $500 for a subsequent violation, which may be assessed and recovered in a civil action brought in the name of the people of the state of California by the Attorney General or a district attorney or city attorney in any court of competent jurisdiction. If the Attorney General, District Attorney, or City Attorney prevails in an action under this subdivision, the court shall award to the Attorney General, District Attorney, or City Attorney reasonable attorney fees and costs. Just squeeze in the money. Just squeezing the money out of people and businesses. Stores can still maintain a boys and a girls section as long as they create one gender-neutral area, though the legislation's unclear whether retailers could be punished for selling the same toys in gendered and gender-neutral sections of the store. It's California. I bet your damn butt they'll be punished for that. I bet your damn butt. So what are they going to have? Gray My Little Ponies? Are they going to have, they already have sexless Barbies. If you take the pants off the Barbie doll and the Ken doll, there's nothing there. Maybe they should just shave their heads, make them look the same, and give them different names. Maybe they should just make them look like Minions. I don't know. Gray Minions. There we go. Gender neutral. This is ridiculous. And all it does is hurt our children. Lowe, he told it sounds like I'm saying lo and behold. Lowe told, the Los Angeles Times, part of it is to make sure, if you're a young girl, that you can find a police car, a fire truck, a periodic table, or a dinosaur. Why would you consider a periodic table a male toy? I've seen periodic tables in pink and blue. Lowe said that. It makes no sense. You can find them in any section. And what's the big deal about going to another section? Nobody cares unless you've taught them to be sensitive, unless you've taught the parents and the children to be sensitive and soft. It's ridiculous. And then similarly, he wrote, if you're a boy, if you're more artistic and you want to play with glitter, why not? Why should you feel the stigma of saying, oh, this should be shamed, and going to a different location? I don't know about you, but I played with glitter when I was a little boy, and it didn't matter. I think the glitter we got from the craft store. We didn't even get it from the children's section. I don't even know if it existed in the children's section back then. But even if it does now, what is the big deal about walking from one place to another? It doesn't mean anything. And yet these people literally see signs in the cornflakes. They literally see crop circles. They're reading freaking tea leaves. They're making stuff up. Look. Having a gender-neutral toy section is a direct attack on normal family dynamics, and it conditions our kids to be even more confused as they become young adults. It's all part of that programming I talked about. We're all the same pile of human excrement to the elites. Men and women don't matter. Parents don't matter. Families don't matter. All that matters is that we're good little obedient numbers in the system. We're great, perfect, obedient little cogs in the wheel. I said on a previous podcast that I believe a militant sect of the LGBT community is controlled by the progressive elites. These militants, they're not fighting for the rights of the LGBT community. No, they're fighting to wipe out our entire belief system and replace it with theirs. I'm a modern conservative, and for the most part, I don't care what you do with your life as long as it doesn't affect me or my children. As long as you're not a child molester or a serial killer, you be you over there, all right, in your own space. And I'll be over here, being me, in my own space. It's that simple. But when you come into my space and tell me I can't be me anymore and I now have to be you, and you tell my children they have to be you, well, bucko, we have problems. That's the simplest way to put it. They come after us. They come after our children. They need us all in on their wicked, evil ideology. They need us all to be the same. And the only way to do that is to keep us stupid. To keep us stupid. That's what equity was invented for. So for a sample of what's to come across the U.S., we go to Bill de Blasio in what was once the great city of New York. Check out this article from the Epic Times by Tom Ozimek, NYC, to cancel accelerated learning program for gifted kids. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has announced plans to cancel the Gifted and Talented Accelerated Learning Program for school children, drawing praise from those who called the scheme discriminatory and condemnation from those who say it harms hardworking students. Starting next fall, New York City will stop testing kindergartners for entry into the Gifted and Talented program, which was the subject of a lawsuit that claimed the screens were racially discriminatory and fueled racial segregation in the school system. The era of judging 4-year-olds based on a single test is over, de Blasio said in an October 8th statement. Every New York City child deserves to reach their full potential, and this new equitable, remember that word, folks, equitable model gives them that chance. The Gifted program, which faced criticism for enrolling low numbers of Black and Latino students, will instead be replaced with a new framework called Brilliant NYC. Ooh, that will leave students identified for accelerated instruction in mixed classrooms, but it will provide them with extra attention. I wonder what that will look like. During an appearance on WNYC on October 8th with school's Chancellor Maisha Porter, de Blasio proclaimed all of this stuff. He promised that these students would get extra attention. And I don't know about you, but I am a product of public school, and there was no extra attention. And I doubt any extra attention to gifted kids under this program will not be beneficial to them. Quote, the kids who have those special abilities for accelerated learning will be getting a lot of attention, I'm sure. A lot of opportunity to do it. But they'll be learning with all the other kids, de Blasio said, adding that brilliant NYC scheme would reach tens of thousands of more kids with accelerated learning. In fact, I think it's going to cause horrible bullying. But that's just my opinion. Porter said that under the new program, teachers would be provided with additional training to identify special ability learners and provide them with targeted, individualized instruction. A parent calling into the WNYC praised the move, saying the gifted program created a two-tiered world that I think needs to go. See, the Democrats, the leftists, the liberals, they sell these common people. They sell the uninformed voter, the Democrat voter. They sell them this world, this critical race broken world where there's some double system out there. But the truth is that that's all BS. It's all a lie. But the people still drink it up. They still vote for Democrats. They still call in to WNYC praising the move, saying the gifted program creates two-tiered worlds that need to go. Charlene Ang, a mother of a student enrolled in the gifted program on the Upper West Side, admonished de Blasio's decision. It is abominable that de Blasio is, in his final months in office, dismantling one of the few successful education programs in New York City, adversely impacting a swath of children, she told the New York Post. De Blasio's nearly 8-year tenure as mayor ends in less than 3 months. Democrat candidate Eric Adams, who's widely expected to replace de Blasio, has proposed a different framework, with Chalkbeat reporting that he plans to keep the admissions test and expand the number of gifted classrooms across the city. Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa, something like that, who has vowed to fight to preserve the gifted and talented programs, criticized de Blasio's decision to phase out the current arrangement, citing a range of benefits and arguing it should not be diluted, nor should it be discontinued. The gifted program faced criticism for enrolling low numbers of Black and Latino students. According to Chalkbeat, a news organization that specializes in public education coverage, more than 70% of spots in the gifted program go to Asian Americans and white students, who make up less than a third of New York City's student population. Let me ask you a question. A, since when were Asian Americans not considered minorities? And B, if Asian Americans combined with white students make up 70% of the spots in the gifted program, but they make up less than a third of the entire population of New York City student population, tell me, who is actually in the minority? I'll give you a hint. All right? I'll give you a hint. Let me whisper it. It's the white and Asian folks. All right, now that that's been said, conservative commentator Ben Shapiro framed de Blasio's move as pushing mandatory mediocrity in a bid to force equality of outcome. Pursuing equity as the chief goal of policy means, in practical terms, pursuing equity of outcome through mandatory mediocrity. That's what Shapiro wrote in a tweet. Some Democrats also took aim at de Blasio's decision. That's interesting. That took me aback for a second. Some Democrats also took aim. Democrats usually don't attack each other, but as you've seen as of late, they have been. They've been imploding all across the country, and nothing is different in New York City, where it says some Democrats took aim at de Blasio's decision, with State Senator John Liu, who chairs a panel on New York City schools, taking to Twitter to express his displeasure. Gifted and talented programs have been an integral option for generations of school kids, Liu wrote in a tweet. Bill de Blasio promised intensive public school engagement about it, but now he wants total elimination. Public engagement, not public school engagement. Asked on the WNYC program about his message for parents who might choose to leave New York City public school system or the city entirely if the gifted program is done away with, de Blasio said, "I bet you a lot of parents are now going to look at this plan and say, this is the reason to stay." You know, this guy's a narcissist. He's crazy. He's out of his mind. He was literally dancing. He was dancing right? Do you remember that? While everything was locked down, he's literally out of his mind. He thinks socialism is the cure for everything. He, like everybody else, he goes, oh, look, you're going to say my plan is great. Then he fails at a bunch of things. He keeps repeating himself, and he just hopes and bets that you're going to forget. Like a goldfish, you're going to forget his promises, forget his existence, and he can go on his merry way mucking up the country. Well, the city, at least, that he's in. Hopefully not the country. I know he had presidential prospects, and if that ever happens, I'm moving back to the Philippines, all right? Literally moving back to the Philippines. Let's keep reading. The gifted program would be phased out, with kids entering it between now and next year allowed to continue in it until completion. Porter said that parents still have an opportunity to provide feedback on the proposal, which still may be tweaked, calling it a blueprint for the plan that we intend to implement and our vision for New York City, for the sewer that is New York City, the crime-infested sewer. All right, guys, listen, this is crazy. The whole thing is out of control. The city has fallen apart. Back before Giuliani was the mayor of New York City, all right, it was a crime-infested cesspool. And guess what? It's back to being a crime-infested cesspool, if not worse than it ever was before Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up. It says Heather Higgins, chair of the Independent Women's Network, said in a tweet, Bill de Blasio's latest plan to harm hardworking students and parents, ending New York City's Accelerated Gifted and Talented program, is only viewed as a good idea by the stupid, by the jealous, and by the vindictive. Remember, I told you earlier what equity is: harming others, taking away from others to benefit somebody else. All right. Nobody earns anything. Nobody tries hard. You're just taking from somebody and giving to somebody else. All right. That is the person who gets hurt, you and me. All right. Some things in life just aren't fair. And Bill de Blasio thinks he can make it fair for everybody by ruining the opportunities for our children and brainwashing them to be socialists. So now that you know that it's racist and unfair for our kids to be smart, I have to warn you, the rest of the show is a little bit infuriating. So prepare yourself. They tell you that it's racist and wrong to be you. They tell you that you're privileged. Regardless of your color, they call you privileged because of your frame of mind and belief system, not because of your ethnicity. Your kids are taught that religion is evil, that religion is racist, that history is racist, that the entire American system is racist, and that if they aren't completely suffering and dependent upon the government, they're privileged. It doesn't stop there. They're taught that because they're privileged, they owe a debt to society. They owe a debt to the planet and to the universe. They're taught that in order to make the world a better place, we all, you, me, your kids, everyone, all of us, we must be forced to change if we won't go willingly. To the elites and the brainwashed, God has died and he's been replaced by social media. If God is killed by social media and progressive elites, an American Sodom and Gomorrah is a small price to pay for a generation or 2 or 3 or 10 of eternal power and wealth off the backs of the broken and brainwashed. Ladies and gentlemen, as our children's eyes are replaced by cartoon swirls and some of our friends and family members disappear into the cornfield, out-of-touch celebrities worship vanity and attention as God and Savior. Take a look at this. Oh my God, Becky, look at that. If you're listening and you're not watching, there's a picture on the screen of Madonna's 63-year-old rear end, and I think I'm going to be sick. Guys, from Breitbart. All right, from Breitbart, written by Alana Mastrangelo. All right, I hope I said that right. Mastrangelo. All right, sorry, Alana, if I didn't. Madonna, 63, grinds on Tonight Show desk, flashes butt cheeks while plugging documentary. I don't think they should keep butt cheeks and plugging in the same sentence, but hey, why not? It's Breitbart. Pop star Madonna was roasted by the Tonight Show viewers after she crawled across Jimmy Fallon's desk during Thursday's show. She flashed her buttocks to the audience before returning to her seat while Fallon freaked the F out. The 63-year-old singer was promoting her new documentary, Madame X, during an appearance on The Tonight Show, where she channeled late writer James Baldwin, stating, "Artists are here to disturb the peace." These people are out of their mind. They live in a frickin' fantasy world. Quote, "And so, I hope that I have disturbed not only your peace this afternoon, but people's peace while they watch the show. I mean that in the best way," Madonna added, to which Fallon responded by stating, "Yeah, you get in good trouble." "Good trouble," Madonna repeated, before lunging forward and salaciously climbing onto the late-night host's desk, pushing aside his coffee mug and showing off her figure as she lied there for a moment while the crowd cheered. They cheered. It's disgusting. All right. No. Why would you? Madonna, stop it, Fallon proclaimed before taking off his suit jacket and attempting to cover up the pop star, which was to no avail. Madonna then got off Fallon's desk and reassured the host that no one's going to see anything. "My God," the Grammy winner added as she turned her back towards the audience to return to her seat and lifted up her dress to expose her rear and clad in cheeky black underwear for all to see. And this is what they show our kids. This is what our kids get to see. Why? Why is that empowering for a 63-year-old woman to do that? She didn't do anything classy. She just acted like a hoe. I said it, and it's the truth. She acted like a 63-year-old hoe, begging for attention. All right? Do you think it smelled up there on stage? I'm not saying, listen, look, older people, all right? Some people, especially when they're going to fancy events when they're older, right? They use a lot of baby powder. They use a lot of cornstarch. All right. Certain people kind of have that mothball smell. And I wonder if when she jumped on the desk and flashed her butt cheeks, if Jimmy Fallon got a big whiff of that 63-year-old mothball scent and went, oh God, what are you doing? All right. Look. These people they worship vanity. They worship their cell phones, what people think of them on social media. They worship the techno god, plain and simple. All right. I just don't find that to be appropriate for a 63-year-old anybody, man or woman. All right. I just don't. Viewers watching jumped on social media and called Madonna's stunt a train wreck. And apparently everybody else thinks that she shouldn't have done it either. Fallon, he then proceeded to behave in a frazzled manner before Madonna said, "Life is not just about interviewing kiddies, okay? Don't you want to talk to an adult? Let's have an adult conversation." Are you talking to an adult right now?" Fallon asked, to which the singer said, "I'm not sure." "I feel like you're in some kind of conflict right now," Madonna told Fallon before asking, "Have you been to a therapist?" "I went once or twice," the host answered. "It just wasn't my thing." Fallon then asked Madonna if she goes to therapy, to which the pop star said she doesn't, adding that she writes and she finds the practice therapeutic. Over the summer, Madonna made a surprise appearance at a pride party in Manhattan where she was seen lying on a bar, caressing her leg before standing up and singing one of her hits, Hung Up. In another video, the songstress could be seen grinding on an unidentifiable object, while the crowd cheered on. Folks, I bet you that Madonna is one of the saddest people, all right, the saddest, most depressed, unhappy people you could ever meet on the planet. And I think we should all just pray for her. We should pray for her sanity, and we should pray that she finds a little bit of humility. All right, a little bit of humility and selflessness in her later years. You know, a lot of people see what Madonna did as either a publicity stunt or a sad cry for attention. But I see the bigger picture. I see the pattern. I think when you're super rich and famous for a very long time, you tend to lose touch with the streets and the struggle. That's right, the streets and the struggle. If you ever were in touch with them to begin with, that is. I told my wife the other day that if I ever became super rich and started to lose touch with reality, that she needs to tell me so I can cut myself off and put myself in a one-bedroom in a low-income neighborhood for like 6 months. That way I could get hard and humble again. I'm coming up with these one-liners all day, right? Streets and struggle, hard and humble. But that's how you have to be, folks. You have to be hard and humble to maintain and manage that success. These Hollywood elites and brainwashed liberals, they cry for rights, but they have no idea what they're actually crying out for. They say, let trans women in women's spas. What's the worst thing that could happen? And then little girls are harassed by predators. These trans women, they flash their peepees at these little girls. It happens. It happened in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills. They say put trans women in women's prisons. Well, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could happen? Then we have to pay for, as taxpayers, we have to pay for an epidemic of AIDS and pregnancy in women's prisons. What do you know? They say that little girls and boys, they shouldn't have genders. They shouldn't have rules. They shouldn't have families, at least families as we know it. These teachings have consequences, ladies and gentlemen, major consequences. Remember pole dancing? First, there was pole dancing in strip clubs. Then the liberals said that pole dancing only in a strip club was sexist, and that pole dancing could also be considered as cardio. Okay, it's to me, if it's non-sexual, do aerobics on a pole non-sexually and in non-sexual attire. And you know what? Fine. I'm okay with that. You're an adult. Do it. It's fine. Aha, though. But there's a catch. There's a catch. There's always a catch with the libs. According to the woke ideology, I'm not allowed to consider any attire a woman wears as sexual without her first proclaiming that it is sexual. So therefore, I cannot consider pole dancing or pole aerobics sexual in any way whatsoever, no matter what the woman is wearing. By the way, she's not required at all to proclaim if it's sexual or not. Even saying she is a she is considered wrong in their crazy bass-ackwards ideology. It's complete bullcrap. It's complete bullcrap because it's assuming, all right, that she prefers to be a she without her telling me, which makes no sense whatsoever, all right? She's not required to tell me, so no matter what I do, I'm screwed, all right? So what's that tell us? It tells us that their ideology is complete BS. It's nonsense because they've created a completely non-disputable system, all right? It's non-disputable. If you cannot question the system, then it's not a system at all. You know what it is? It's a religion. And to the woke, their teachings are God. Just try to argue with a leftist. Tell me they aren't in a religious cult after you've tried. Give it a shot. See what happens. Am I really wrong? You know I'm not. You know I'm not wrong at all. It's this exact thought process that gives way to things like 7-year-olds in pole dancing classes. This episode is called American Sodom and Gomorrah for a reason, folks. And when you give up your morality and you allow your 7-year-olds to participate in pole dancing classes, you're an idiot if you think bad things can't happen. Bad things happen all the time. So like I've been saying throughout this episode, there are consequences to these stupid liberal decisions. And this is one of them. Folks, this is from Gateway Pundit and by Cassandra Fairbanks, husband of Indiana woman offering pole dancing classes for 7-year-old kids, is a registered child sex offender, according to reports. And if you're watching, take a look at this picture. You see this girl's long hair? That's like from Tangled, right? That's Rapunzel from the tower. They're literally coaxing kids to come in and do pole dancing. It says kids pole too. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. We've got to read it though. An Indiana business is offering pole dancing lessons for children as young as 7 years old. All right. 7 years old. I've said that like 100 times in this episode, but I have to because it has to sink into your subconscious because it's sick. It's literally sick. And the left thinks this is okay. All right. Feminist News reports that according to a private criminal record search conducted by Truthfinder, Maxwell Garrett Hubner was charged on March 11th, 2009 of sexual misconduct with a minor. According to the report, Hubner was convicted of an offense under Indiana Code 354249, a sexual offense against a minor less than 16 years of age, but at least 14 years of age. So we know that she was at least 14 or 15 years old. Hubner would have been approximately 21 years old when the offense was committed. Okay, that's disgusting. I don't give a crap how close you think it is or what kind of excuse you have. A 21-year-old should not be with a 14 or 15-year-old. In fact, nobody should. Come do that with my daughter and see what happens to you. This guy looks like a POS with his little thick neck, tiny head, tiny brain, smiling for the camera. I hate sex offenders, and I hate even more child sex offenders. All right. The Post-Millennial reports that they were able to independently corroborate the arrest record by checking instantcheckmate.com. Hubner deleted her new dance studio's Facebook page as the Gateway Pundit's article on the classes went viral on Friday. And frankly, I think her studio should be locked up and condemned. All right. Because I think pole dancing for kids is child abuse. Don't you? Tell me. Let me know in the comments below. Email me. Let me know however you can whether you believe pole dancing for kids is child abuse. I want your opinion on it. I do. Email me at jameslane@AmericanReveille.com if you can't get a hold of me, or use the contact form at American Reveille, REVEILLE.com. All right, but we have to keep reading this. Her husband also deleted his entire Facebook page as reports came out about his previous arrest. I wonder why he was trying to hide it. Maybe he shouldn't have been around children. A disturbing flyer for the classes feature a likeness of Disney's Rapunzel, like I said in the beginning of this article, hanging upside down on a pole in what appears to be lingerie. And it really does look like lingerie. And look, you see the chameleon on the pole? There's like a tiny little chameleon lizard. That is from Disney's Tangled. My daughter loves Tangled. All right. I know all the songs from Tangled because I've watched it 1,000 times. If you think that's not to coax children, all right. If cigarettes can't have cartoons smoking anymore, all right. The big tobacco companies. Why does this woman here, all right, get to teach pole dancing to children with illustrations of kids in lingerie with little lizards and long flowy blonde hair, smiling and happy? And why do parents even give her money and drop their kids off? What is wrong with people? It's insane. All right. It even says on the flyer 6+. So maybe they had 7-year-old clients. Maybe nobody went as low as 6 yet. It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. Without even her husband being a registered child sex offender. This is terrifying. All right. People are paying $240. All right. For 2 hours a week, or $340 for 3 hours a week, teaching these babies, these young children, how to pole dance. Tiffany has not deleted her own personal Facebook account, which features photos and videos of what appears to be her young daughter or stepdaughter using a pole, in one case alongside herself in a revealing bikini. And this is actually pretty freaking disgusting, folks. If you take a look at this, right? All right, you've got these two women in their bikinis, which is whatever. It's not my business. But then there's this little girl wearing a tiny swimsuit, and she's actually climbing a brass pole. All right, with her legs spread. All right, it's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing. And I believe that this is child abuse. These people should be investigated for child abuse. It's absolutely horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. In a Facebook post prior to deleting the business page, Hubner wrote, "Thank you to those who have shown your support for my kids' pole classes. I know that it's going to take time for everybody to drop the stigma of it's a stripper pole and understand that pole is an international sport now. I have patience and hope for our future generations of pole Olympians and want to share an example with the public of what an international pole sports competition for kids looks like." The post included a video of a 9-year-old child pole dancing to defend her decision. Wow. Wow. Oh, so wow. In Russia, right? That's nice. I can't read those letters there. It says pole sport kids, 9-year-old Anna Kakrova Poknovovich. I can't read that because it's in Russian letters and not English. She shared this to defend herself. Although nothing is defensible, because her man diddles kids and is a registered child sex offender. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. All right? This woman and her man should be arrested. Quote, "It is an excellent combination of dance and gymnastics. Teenagers and adults can be taught in this same style in my pole sport classes, and we also have flirty flow for adults who want to learn a sensual style of pole. But the two styles are kept separate and age appropriate." Although a bunch of different women's crotches spend time on that pole, I'm sure. Folks, it's not appropriate. It's not right. I don't care what people say. I don't care what women's groups come after me. I don't give a crap. I'm a father. I have daughters. Kiss my lily white butt cheeks. We're not done yet. In another post, screenshotted by the Gateway Pundit, the instructor who also invited people to stop by and check it out, referring to the children's pole dancing class, all right? The instructor invited people to just come and watch, all right? Come and watch children's pole dancing classes. There's a nice little picture of a girl in tiny shorts and a tiny bra, stretching herself, spreading herself out on a pole. They're selling it as fitness. They always sell it as fitness. And is it fitness? Are there forms of pole that could be considered fitness in 2021? Sure. But they damn sure don't involve 7-year-old little girls. All right? Try me. Justify it. See what happens. A now deleted post from Tiff's Pole Fitness also said that they've deleted posts because the shares and views have extended far beyond our community and area. I didn't anticipate that it would go viral. It would begin to go viral. I just want to protect the privacy of my students. I want to protect our small community. No, you want to protect your own ass because now it's exposed that your husband's a disgusting pervert. All right? Go to jail. That's where you belong. So I know that none of us would ever send our children to a pole dancing class. So please don't think I'm referring to you. I've got nothing against strippers and pole dance cardio people. What I have a problem with is the normalization of the sexualization of our children. Plain and simple. All right? Plain and simple. The elites, they seem to love children a lot more than they should, don't they? From Epstein's pedophile island to Joe Biden sniffing hair to Alex Jones exposing the elites burning child effigies to the hundreds of thousands of children who are sex trafficked in America each year. The elites really seem to have a sick interest in the kids, regardless of the reason why. They normalize the sexualization of children, and I'm not okay with that. You're not okay with that. And it's time we speak out in defense of our kids. We can't allow this to become normal. Our own government looks at parents standing up for kids' rights at school board meetings as domestic terrorists. So how long until they find a reason to investigate the rest of us? All right, how long until parents are stripped of all their rights for the betterment of the system itself and the easier programming of our children? And as faith, family, morality, and righteousness fade away, the American Sodom and Gomorrah grows even bigger. Everyday people start to become demons walking among us. And our last story of the show is about one of those demons, guys. And if you've got kids in the room or you're sensitive to graphic material, please fast forward, all right, or check out a different episode. But for the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about a sensitive subject. This is from Breitbart.com from Nick Gilbertson, Florida veterinarian sentenced to over 21 years in federal prison for the sexual abuse of dogs and for child porn possession. A Florida veterinarian was sentenced to more than 21 years in federal prison on October 8th for recording and sharing videos of himself sexually abusing dogs and possessing child pornography. Prentice K. Madden, 40, was a licensed veterinarian in Aventura, Florida, and has been sentenced to 272 months in federal prison. Madden recorded himself sexually abusing dogs. He shared the bestiality videos online and collected online child pornography. A press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida states, all right? Madden also accessed images of child pornography through the use of a cloud storage service Dropbox. He had thousands of images of child pornography on his phone and was the recipient of child pornography images and videos in social media chats, the release states. This is absolutely disgusting. Like I said, there are demons walking among us. The whole point of this episode is to tell you and show you how they're brainwashing our kids. They're making us dumb. They're making us into moldable lumps of numbered clay, all right? While literally supporting violence, while promoting sex, all right, with underage kids, with dogs, the normalization of literal sexual activity with children. It's absolutely disgusting. These are the things that thrive, that absolutely thrive in a country that's devoid of morals, righteousness, religion, and family. These are the things that the left is going after, that the progressive elites want to kill. They want to break our backs and bring us down. They want us all to be sinners. They want us all to be subservient. They want us all to become serfs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to destroy a country, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, all right? I'm glad they caught this guy, but the fact that people like this exist is a testament to just how screwed up everything is becoming. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, on July 29th, Madden pleaded guilty to 5 charges. Are you ready? Madden pleaded guilty to 3 counts of receipt of child pornography in violation of Title 18 U.S.C. Section 2252A2, 1 count of possession of child pornography in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 2252A4 Bravo, and 1 count of creation of an animal crush video in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 48A2 Bravo, a federal statute that punishes acts of animal torture, including bestiality. And this guy should have gotten life. I don't think 21 years is enough. According to WSVN, the investigation into Madden began with a cyber tip. He was arrested for the despicable acts on March 16th after federal authorities raided his home on February 24th. WSVN reports the raid led to the discovery of the collection of child porn and the Animal Crush film. Madden worked at Caring Hands Animal Hospital and was terminated before his March 16th arrest. How appropriate. His caring hands, and what he did with those caring hands is despicable. Here's a statement from the former employer. Quote, "We at Caring Hands Animal Hospital are appalled by the nature of the charges against Prentice Madden. We immediately terminated Mr. Madden 2 weeks ago upon learning that he was under investigation for these heinous and unthinkable crimes." The Animal Hospital said in a statement back in March per 7 News Miami, quote, "This is never who I planned to be or thought I would be." That's what Madden told Judge Jose Martinez at sentencing, per the Miami Herald. He said, "It does not represent who I am as a person." Well, tell me, Madden, who are you as a person? You filmed yourself screwing a dog, that's what I'm guessing, or doing something torturous and horrible to a dog, all right? And you collected, received, and distributed child pornography. Those are children. Those are babies. I have children. So how does this not represent you as a person? Did you just use the woke ideology to say that you don't identify as the same person anymore? How are you going to pull through this one? I don't think you are. You are a demon among us, and you're now locked away. And you should be locked away for much longer. All right? You should be locked away for much longer. Think about this. It's absolutely horrifying. And strings of things like this have been popping up and appearing in the news every single day for months and months and months and months now, ever since Joe Biden took the presidency. The population has been devolving into a worse and worse and worse de-evolved group of individuals. It's absolutely frightening for many people. People don't know what to do or who to trust. And how could you trust anybody after hearing stories like your local veterinarian is molesting animals and collecting child pornography. You remember what he said, right? You remember what I just read to you, right? This is never who I planned to be or who I thought I would be. That's what Madden said. This is never who I planned to be or who I thought I would be. It's almost as if he was possessed. But then again, how many people have turned to evil out of convenience? It's easier to turn a blind eye to a changing world, and in a changing world with no consequences, it's easy for the weak-minded to give in to demonic urges. So while states and cities across the country attempt to dumb down and poison our children, the elite and dim-witted run rampant with sin. Look, I'm not super religious, and I'm definitely not perfect, but I do try to lead an honorable, hardworking, and God-fearing life to the best of my ability, like most of you do. Was I always like this? Of course I wasn't, and a lot of you weren't either. I learned a lot of hard lessons in life before humility and some selflessness set in. So as someone who's seen both sides of the coin, the progressive elite jigsaw puzzle is pretty obvious to see through. They want to destroy the American individual. Listen up. They want to destroy the American individual by destroying our children. They want to destroy God by normalizing sin over self-improvement, and most importantly, and the entire reason this is happening in the first place, they want to become exponentially more rich and powerful for generations, not years or decades, but generations, hundreds of years, for generations to come. And at the end of the day, it comes down to black magic and money, money, money. So until next time, folks, that's the end of episode 175 of American Reveille with James Lane. Again, if you enjoyed the show, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, rate, comment, and share this episode with as many people as you can. And if you want to hear me on the radio, call up your favorite conservative AM talk radio stations and demand that they carry American Reveille with James Lane. Please don't forget that American Reveille LLC is also a digital publication with even more cool and exciting projects to come. And please, if you didn't when the show started, head to www.americanreveille.com right now. Bookmark the site, join the newsletter, and please take the time to tell me what you think. I answer every single email. And if you're interested in writing for us, reporting for us, being an on-air talent, working social media, sponsoring us, or even partnering with us, please email me directly at jameslane@americanreveille.com. That's jameslane@americanreveille.com. Don't forget, bookmark the website, www.americanreveille.com. And if you need to contact me for any of the reasons I just stated, jameslane@americanreveille.com. And for all of us here at American Reveille, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your continued love, your continued loyalty, and your continued support. I do what I do not only for my children, but for every single one of you. So thank you for sticking with us, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.